All right, financial math classes. Today, we're finishing up chapter 3 in the McGraw textbook, lesson 3.3. We're going to learn how to use a budget. Really looking at the budget sheet at the end of the month, look at where your money spent, and then see if you actually stayed within that budget. So we're going to be looking at an expense summary. Once you have completed a budget sheet, outline your past expenditures, you can use it to plan for future spending. You may want to prepare a monthly expense summary. This report compares the amounts that you have spent to the amounts that you have budgeted. When you draft a budget, you should include an emergency fund. This is extra money set aside to be used for unpredictable expenses such as medical bills and vehicle repairs. So you know from the Ramsey textbook and the videos we've been watching from that textbook that emergencies happen, and if you don't plan for emergencies, you're going to be going seriously in debt. So you want to make sure you are planning for emergencies, having funds set aside so you can pay for those things as they come up. So let's take a look at an expenditure sheet. So here is an expenditure sheet. So we have the expense summary for Paul and Diana Bender. So how this works, this column over here is how much they budgeted for each expense, right? This column here is how much they budgeted, and then this is how much they actually spent. What you want to do to figure out if you're within the budget, you can look, but we want to see how much over budget or under budget you are so you know how much wiggle room you have at the end of the month. So what you do is you subtract these columns. So you're going to subtract 290 minus 302.60, fill in the whole column. So as we go down, 290 minus 302.60, that is $12.60. That's a negative, so you want to include negatives. All right, 45 minus 44.35, that's a positive 65 cents. 80 minus 0, that's a positive 80. 35 minus 35 is 0. 24.50 minus 31.70, that is a negative $7.20. 95 minus 95 is 0. Going down, 85 minus 105, that is a negative $16.70. 70 minus 20, or 70 minus 50 is a positive 20. 60 minus 31.75, that is a positive 28.25. 50 minus 60 is a negative 10. 80 minus 93.75, that is a negative 13.75. 20 minus 35, that's a negative 15. 65 minus 32 is a positive 33. 22 minus 63, that's going to be a negative 41.80. And then 140 minus 158.40, that's going to be a negative 18.40. Rent and mortgage, 625 minus 625 is 0. Furniture, 125 minus 125 is 0. Savings, 150 minus, or 250 minus 150 is positive 100. And then 833 minus 833 is 0. So how this works, all these negative numbers are where the penders went over budget. The positive numbers are where they're under budget. So what you would want to do is add up all these numbers, all right, to see if overall you're over or under budget. I'll just tell you right now, if you were to add them all up, they would be under budget total by about $124, I believe, but we're going to look at it in smaller chunks. So let's answer these questions. Which expenses for the month had negative variances? Were more than the amount budgeted. So the negative variances right here. So for food and groceries, they were over budget by $12. For their water, they were over budget by $7.20. For gas, they are over budget by $16.70. For credit cards, they spent $10 more than their budget. Pocket money, they were $13.75 more than their budget. Movies and $15 over budget. Recreation is $41.80 over budget, and dining out was $18.40 over budget. So again, all those negatives are where they are over budget. How much more or less did the Penders spend for all fixed expenses than the amount budgeted? So you want to look at the fixed expenses. You can see the headings: household expenses, transportation, personal, entertainment, and then fixed is going to be down all these categories here. So this one's really easy. You add up all these, 0 plus 0 plus 100 plus 0. They were $100 under budget. $100, they spent $100 less than what they had budgeted. And that's, I mean, other than they spent $100 less, they didn't put that 100 into savings. Not necessarily a good thing, but they were under budget. How much more or less than the Penders budget for transportation costs than they spent on transportation? Go to transportation. You want to add those two costs together. So $16.70 and then $20. You add the $20. Add those expenses together, right? So that's going to come out to be a positive $3.30. So they were, since it's positive, they were $3.30 under budget. All right. Which personal expenses did the Penders spend more on than they had budgeted? So again, go to personal. Look, they spent more on credit cards and pocket money. All right. So one last problem. Let's see if you can figure it out. You can pause the video and see if you can work this out. But I'll go ahead and work it out now. How much more or less were total entertainment expenditures for the month that they budgeted? So we go to entertainment. We need to add up all these values. All right. So -15 plus 33. Plus negative 4180 plus negative 1840. That's going to work out to you. Add up all those and make sure you're including the negatives. That's going to add up to being $4.20 over, or $42.20 over budget. Again, make sure you're including those negatives, because that's going to tell you if you get a negative number, you're over budget. All right. Your assignment is a worksheet. It's in Google Classroom. Go ahead and get that done. If you have any questions, make sure you email me. But other than that, we'll see you guys next time.